whoa, 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 yeah, we are in the place to be.
Hey everybody, it's Mr. Pratt here, and today we're going to be featuring a game called Chop Off. So Chop Off is a frisbee game typically played with two teams, and it's a target throwing game. I'm trying to use my frisbee to knock this ball off of this post. Now, like all games and activities I feature on my channel, Chop Off is highly accessible, highly modifiable to make sure it fits your context. It's an engaging activity that can be played by pretty much any age, and it keeps things fun for the whole family. Whether you're camping, whether you're at school, or whether you're just at home in your own backyard, Chop Off is a great game for you to be playing. So the basic idea of Chop Off is I'm going to be throwing at the opposing post and ball. I'm trying to throw my frisbee from behind my own post line, and I'm trying to knock the ball off of the post. Different points are awarded for different contacts of the ball or the post, and you'll see that in the coming parts of the video. Now, if you're playing in a traditional sense, there's a couple things you need to know. Number one, like I mentioned before, you got to stay behind your post when you're throwing. Modify the distance based on your experience level. Okay, number two is when you're playing defense, you got to make sure you're ready to catch. You got to be in that ready position, so if the ball were to fall off, you can make a quick catch like that. Number three, keep your hands and your head up. Okay, frisbees are hard, they hurt when they hit you, so make sure your hands are up, you're in that ready position, you got your window ready, and you attack the frisbee before it attacks you. And of course, number four, just make sure you have a safe playing area. There's not too many obstacles around you, so you're able to move and catch freely, because sometimes you're going to have to dive to make that big catch. Now, typically when I play Chop Off with my friends, we play up to 11 points, but of course you can modify that to fit your context. We also play that if you go over 11, you drop back down to 5. So say I was at 10 and I chop the ball right off, that would be worth 3 points. That gets me to 13. I'm going to drop back down to 5.
All right, so here's your typical Chop Off equipment. We got 2 posts, 2 cones, 2 balls, and a frisbee. And these posts we just made ourselves at home. Super simple and a basic setup. This is a typical field. Adjust your distance based on your experience. Just make sure you got a nice open area with lots of room to move. And in these first couple clips, you're going to see some throws that are not successful. So in this case, no points would be awarded because the post and the ball aren't contacted. In these next 3 clips, you're going to see that the post is getting contacted by the frisbee, causing the ball to fall and hit the ground. These would all be worth 1 point. And in the next couple clips, you're going to see the cone being hit. The cone counts as part of the post. So again, these would just be 1 point throws. In these next few clips, you're going to see the frisbee hitting the ball directly. This is called the Chop Off, and this would be worth 3 points. This is the most points you can get from a single throw.
Now, the game isn't quite as simple as that, because normally in a game of Chop Off, myself and a partner would be at this side, and the opposing 2 players would be on that side. And when I throw the frisbee, the opposing players have 2 jobs. Number one is to defend the ball from hitting the ground. If I contact the post or the ball with my frisbee and it's falling to the ground and the defending team is able to make a catch, no points are awarded. They've defended their ball, they've done a great job playing defense, and my team would earn no points. Their second job, of course, is to catch the frisbee. When you're defending in Chop Off, some basic strategy would be to have one person up close to the post, ready to protect and catch the ball, okay? And the other person on your team would be back a little further to make sure they're catching this. And a couple other final rules to note is you can't ever block a frisbee from contacting the ball or the post, okay? You're not allowed to goaltend. You must stay behind the imaginary line of the post while you're defending.
All right, so here we go with some Chop Off defense. Now, obviously, I'm just playing by myself, and I don't have a partner in this case, so I have a couple jobs. Number one is I got to be trying to catch the frisbee, and number two, I got to be defending that ball in case of a ball or post contact. You're going to see occasionally I don't catch the frisbee. That's okay. There are modifications where you can award a point to the throwing team for that, but be sure to stay tuned in the video and check out the modification slide at the end for more details on that. There are occasions, too, where the post is contacted, just like that one, but the ball doesn't fall off. There's no points awarded for this. All right, so now you're going to see a few cases where the ball or post actually is contacted, and I'm playing some terrible defense. This is why it's important to stay in that ready position and be ready to play some defense to make those catches. Get those knees bent and those hands up. And in these last two clips, you can see I do actually make a better defensive attempt and try and catch the ball, but the ball still contacts the ground. These would all be cases of 1-point scores for the throwing team. And in these last couple clips, you're going to see that the Frisbee's contacting the ball directly. I'm making a decent attempt at it, but I'm never successful in catching the ball. So these would all be 3-point scores. These are really great shots by the thrower, and they make it incredibly hard for the defender to catch the ball because it's incredibly unpredictable where the ball is going to go when it's contacted by the Frisbee directly. And finally, you're going to see me making some solid defensive plays here. I'm going to be catching the ball before it contacts the ground. And regardless of whether or not the Frisbee hits the post, the cone, or the ball, if I'm able to catch it before it hits the ground, no points will be awarded to the throwing team. So in chop off, really, you're going to win the games by defense. Of course, you do have to score points on offense, but playing solid defense and not letting your opponents score points is probably the way you're most likely to get a solid lead and end up winning the game. So make sure you're getting low, your hands are up, and you're ready to make a big defensive play.
Now, as always, I encourage you to modify this game to fit your context. You don't need to use a Frisbee. Use a ball, practice overhand throwing. Use a football, use a bigger target, use a smaller target, use a bigger post, a lower post. Depending on the age and the size and the experience of the people you're playing with, making these modifications can really lead to more success. The last thing you want to do is have a tiny target at a far distance where nobody's able to contact it. That's going to get people frustrated, they're going to lose motivation, and they're not going to want to play. That's the opposite of what I want to do with the games on my channel. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, sign up for notifications so you can see when my latest content gets released, like and share away. Thanks for visiting the channel, I appreciate the support. This is Mr. Pratt, signing off from Chop Off.